Adnan, Badr, can you believe that we're able to do this after the crazy time that we've had?
We want to thank you guys so much for being safe so that this could happen in the first place.
And thank you for also somehow making this a good year for the show.
Against all odds.
By the end of last year, our listenership was higher than it's ever been.
We dropped some hot merch.
Which makes no money still.
But pretty cool.
Pretty cool indeed. We've worked with friends, icons, idols of ours. We've had more guests than ever, more frequently than ever.
And despite it all, we still have no money.
The math does not add up. There's hundreds and hundreds of ideas out there, and not a single one has been bought by a rich executive or producer.
Yeah, if I were to pantomime how much money we've made in the last year, I'd do this.
We're not going to let it get us down, though. We have endless amounts of ideas to come up with.
Full-length movie ideas, which is better than a dia, come up with on the spot because we are, and people are saying this, geniuses.
And while I've never heard it, I do believe that.
I mean, hey, if you want to fact check me, don't.
But that does bring us to the name of tonight's show.
Of course, we named it after the pinnacle of cinema that is Breaking 2 Electric Boogaloo.
One of the best named sequels of all time. We've seen in our work multiple times through Shawshank Redemption 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Parent Trap 2 Electric Boogaloo, but reversed.
We've brought this name into our work and into our hearts, but we feel like it encapsulates the electric feeling we get from being able to do this in front of all you good people.
We want to celebrate that feeling. We want to celebrate that electricity in the air and nothing else that's in the air.
Y'all better be good. And to do that, we've made sure that every idea that we come up with is a contribution from you good folks.
So hey, if it's bad, blame each other and not us.
But I think it's a good time to get this thing started.
Yeah, why not?
Start with the celebrity that is going to begin.
Let's do it.
Let's see what we got today. Des, you want to pull our first celebrity of the evening?
Man, I'd love to. William Shatner.
From Star Trek. Everybody tries to do an impression of him, and most of them aren't that good.
He is the Priceline negotiator.
The most important role he's ever had.
Give it up.
Now, before I get into genre, I think I should let you guys know that we lied a little bit. The first pitch that we are going to do is going to have a genre pulled from you guys, but we decided to up the ante a little bit.
Just a little bit.
We're going to make the first pitch that we do a musical. On the spot, but we need to up the ante. We need some electricity, some stakes. So let's see what kind of hybrid musical this is going to be. Let's see what we got here. Spooky found footage film. Musical found footage.
So I composed this musical. Normally they're composed on a piano, but you know what they call the guitar?
The white man's
piano. So I guess let's get into it.
So let's get into this. So we start our film.
William Shatner is a really old guy. Not just a statement. He's also old in the movie.
He's also old in the movie. He lives in a woodland cabin.
All by himself. Sad.
But when a group of teens make their way to the woods, he's excited at the prospect of making some new friends.
He's like, oh, this is cool. People who aren't my age.
But the thing is, William Shatner, being so old and so woodland, he doesn't make a good first impression.
They're walking down the street, and he's like, hey! And they scatter, and he's like, man. This always happens.
So this first song is about his lonely plight. As you bring this in, whenever you feel it right.
The spirits movement. God, it sucks so much to live alone in my house.
Nobody talks to me, not even the mouse.
I mean, it'd be really weird if the mice could speak. That's neither here nor there.
A guy could dream, what's that over there?
The kids are back. Should I go say hi again?
Maybe I'll just scare him away.
Everything's so complicated.
William Shatner.
Wasn't that good of an impression of William Shatner singing?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen him sing Rocket Man? He kind of just like says it. In this movie, he breaks type and actually sings notes.
It's gonna take a lot of work, but it's gonna be worth it.
Yeah.
William Shatner is looking at the window. The kids are terrified that they made their way back to the shack, and the film changes perspective. We see how these kids are faring. They've been lost for hours. They have no idea where they're supposed to be.
And since it's a found footage film and we somehow have to do that too, they're broadcasting the entire endeavor on IG Live.
They keep asking people of the internet to help them, but they just keep getting like LOL and heart reaction.
They're just like, this is hilarious, good one, guys.
While they're struggling, William Shatner decides that he is going to try to speak. He's not going to miss his only chance at making friends. So he makes his way out.
He waddles out because he's old.
But he's very shy. He's working up the strength behind the trees. And when they see him creeping along, they scatter yet again. And this time, we hear a song about their fear.
Why is that old man so scary?
Why are you asking? Just run.
I mean, I thought I'd try to make conversation. We're all in this together after all.
I don't feel like letting that man catch us.
That's probably a good idea.
I'm trying to save my breath for running.
Okay, sorry.
There's a guaranteed applause breaks. The kids are there. One of them is suggesting that they actually do talk to William Shatner, because even though he is a scary guy, they have no hope out here.
He's the one that's like the nerd.
Yeah, the nerd.
He's got glasses on.
And that's the only way to know someone's a nerd in a film.
And like suspenders. He's basically dressed like Urkel.
Yeah. Who should play our nerd? Anyone want to suggest the nerd?
Who's a good nerd?
Who's a teenage nerd? Anybody have one?
Tom Holland.
Tom Holland could do a teenage nerd.
That guy can do everything.
Pretty good.
I think that's mainly because he looks like the kind of like automatic thing when you get like a created character in a video game. Just kind of like randomly generated.
It's pretty accurate. So Tom Holland suggests that they actually speak to William Shatner, but the others brush him off completely.
And
What-
this whole time, William Shatner, he went inside, he cried a lot. He was sobbing. He lost his voice, so now when he walks out to try to talk, he can't really like speak with his full fervor. He's kind of like mumbling, and it's scary.
He's just digging his own grave socially, and he doesn't even know it.
And isn't that the scariest idea of all?
But the worst part of this is that there is something to be afraid of in these woods, and it's not William Shatner.
Thank God. That'd be really sad.
It would be really sad if it was William Shatner. But these kids, if anything happens to them, they're just going to attribute it to the first scary thing they saw. They're not going to have the wherewithal to break things down and know who's really trying to help them.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if they were to see, say, a wolf man. They saw William Shatner first, so it's his fault.
As Tom Holland is trying to explain to the others that they need to give William Shatner a chance, the sun begins to set. it's a full moon that night. The kids set up camp just exactly where they are. They get a fire going. One of them has a guitar. He sings a song about the legend of the woods.
The woods get really scary at night.
And really dark.
I messed up that chord a little bit, sorry.
It's realistic at that point. It's just some kid in the woods.
It is
Gonna mess
found
up.
footage. Not everything's perfect.
When unsuspecting souls come into the woods.
Is this like a poem?
Well, the guy lost his confidence in his singing too. That's why he picked up guitar in the first place. He wanted to sing cool at parties.
It works.
When unsuspecting kids come into the woods, not all of them return, but the few that have live to tell the tale of the woodland wolf.
The wolf is really hairy
And has big teeth.
and hands, not paws. Real human hands. I mean, hey, is there anything scarier than a giant dog walking on two legs with human hands?
Other than that, he's pretty much what you think a wolfman is.
You know, straight up try to tell me something scarier right now. Sound off in the comments.
It's still on Instagram.
That's the movie.
As he's finishing the song, a blood-curdling howl is heard in the background.
Anyone got a good one? That was 7. That was so much better than
That's so much scarier, honestly.
He howls with the sound of 7 dogs.
Tom Holland's obviously terrified. He's upset that his friend would play such a song while they're in such a scary situation.
Yeah, now he feels like his friend summoned the wolf man.
And it wasn't cool to pretend to howl like that, but that howl was real this whole time.
Yeah, you can tell that it was real because the guy who was singing the song didn't move his mouth when it happened.
I wasn't looking that closely. These kids try to sleep,
But they
rust-
don't.
But they don't. It's uncomfy to sit on the leaves and
They forgot
rocks.
to pack sleeping bags or tents.
They just set a fire in the middle of the woods and hope for the best.
Yeah, they were trying to be spontaneous and it didn't work. And that's another scary thing.
Tom Holland, in a haze, awakes to see a looming figure over his friend, getting dragged away.
That's not good.
He goes to investigate. The rustling of the leaves seem to be happening all around him. Something's moving far too quickly. Far too quickly to be a tired old man in a cabin. He hears the howls yet again.
They're only
I like having that power now. He's terrified as he investigates. He needs to get it all on Instagram Live, of course,
for the clouds.
for the clout. He's a nerd, but he understands social media.
I mean, what would get you more followers than, again, a wolf man with human hands?
Finally, the person being dragged awakes to see a whole wolf man on their leg. They scream into the night, waking the rest of the friends.
But they scream like singing because it's still a musical.
What would that sound like, Des? It's very pleasant. Someone someone witnessing the event. He's dying.
That sucks. Couldn't be me.
The group runs into the other direction. They have no hope for saving their friend. They're just not trying to get caught in the crossfire too. When they finally escape, I think it makes sense to have Zendaya in this film if Tom Holland is there. Everybody wants that.
Give it up for her. She's not here. I'm sure she'll appreciate the effort.
Yeah, she'll appreciate the shout out.
Yeah, when she inevitably sees this.
Zendaya is in the terrified, frantic haze, suggests that William Shatner, the old man that they had seen before, must be a wolfman. And that in this form, he has so much power, and that all their fears were justified. But Tom Holland doesn't think that's the case. Tom Holland says, we've seen one person in the woods that's able to help us. I don't think that resource is the thing that's chasing us. We can go back. We can go get his help. None of the group listens.
He might be the only one who can help them.
But none of them are willing to take the risk. They've only seen one guy that obviously has to be the wolf.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we're back, and William Shatner's at home, hearing the screams. The beautiful melodic screams.
Yeah, it's like, damn, they're really hitting those notes. They must be dying.
And even though he can't speak and he's weak, he does have a heart. And he goes and he grabs his trusty shotgun and makes his way into the woods.
And it's a trusty shotgun because it's kind of like the map from Dora Explorer.
It can talk, that's why
it
it
has cute little eyes and it like sings whenever he picks it up.
So even the shotgun sings.
Yeah, it's a musical.
You gotta get it wherever it is.
At this point, William Shatner is doing an FB Live because he's a little older.
He just has his laptop off. He actually forgot that he never turned off his FB Live.
Yeah.
So he's just been like making dinner and stuff and getting comments. But he's not
Which is
gonna
kind
check
of
them.
nice to get engagement for no reason.
Yeah. He has a real tight-knit group, but they're all far away. William Shatner goes to get his shotgun. His shotgun's so excited to see some action.
She's like, hey, William, how's it going?
And he can't talk, so the shotgun's gonna have to do most of the talking. William Shatner hobbles over, is like,
Okay, cool.
whatever gets me used.
Who do we want to shoot today?
Is it for food or for fun?
Let me know. Oh wait, I just forgot. You're having trouble speaking. Might as well just show me at this point.
Point me at the thing and I'll shoot.
That's how guns work.
But don't blame me if you mess up.
And that's politics.
The trusty gun is still communicating to William Shatner. He's grumbling into the night, and she can tell by his grumbles that he's very concerned. This is something to be worried.
So he's running towards where he hears the scream singing coming from. And so are Tom Holland and Zendaya. And then at one point they all bump into each other and fall down.
Zendaya is terrified. She looks up and sees the clouds are just covering the full moon. She thinks that this person must turn back into a man whenever the full moon is invisible. She
Yeah,
thinks
he has
it's
to see it. Pixar didn't happen.
She thinks this is the perfect time to strike. She fights back against an old and tired William Shatner.
She just beats him up to the audience, no reason.
This poor man is grumbling, trying to save these kids, trying to communicate that he's here for them. But when she hears a talking gun,
Which at face value seems pretty scary, but she doesn't know that this one's nice.
she's terrified and thinks that this is even more of a nightmare. There's a wolf man, a crazy old guy, and a talking gun. These woods are the worst.
But hey, she's got like 25K views on this IG Live right now. It's going crazy.
Everybody's commenting like World Star, like Get 'em.
Do it to him.
They don't have the full story. They're contributing to this negative relationship that they have right now. Tom Holland is trying to get Zendaya off of the old man.
But it's not working because she's way stronger than him.
And in a tragic moment, while Zendaya and William Shatner are fighting for the gun, they both accidentally shoot Tom Holland. Ow.
My stomach.
I guess this is over.
Peace out.
I'd say maybe you should have listened.
But it's really hard to say anything right now.
And also, I don't know. He's technically at fault too.
Who am I to say? And he's gone.
Tom Holland rests easy, knowing that he wasn't killed by a wolf man.
Thank God. Now they'll be able to tell his mom something nice.
To an extent, his political ideologies were justified.
But that's not what this movie's about.
But that's not what that's a little Easter egg if you look at like his IG live feed. You'll get enough to know what he's about. But he's gone now. He's the only one that was willing to trust William Shatner. Zendaya, in a rage, blames the old man even further for what happened. But then, the Wolfman appears from the brush, which is a word I think means a bunch of bushes.
I mean, it does now.
The Wolfman circles around them. Zendaya is shocked to see that William Shatner wasn't the monster at all.
The monster was the monster.
William Shatner's desperately pointing his gun at the Wolfman. The gun now fully understands what the big deal was. She's like, I don't know if this is going to be enough, buddy. We'll do what we can. Zendaya has a remorseful tune. I misjudged you.
Sorry about that.
This is William Shatner's part. Yeah,
I feel that.
if we just learn to trust each other.
That'd be cool.
I don't wanna die here. I guess that means you don't either.
And then they shoot the Wolfman.
Now, because this film needs some action, their IG Live is shaking rapidly.
Yeah, you
Because
can't
they're
see
not-
anything that
Yeah,
happens.
it's just a bunch of blurry lines and explosions, because that's how action is shot, especially on found footage.
Yeah, you ever seen Cloverfield?
What haze you can see is that the Wolfman does take a few shots, jumps back into the woods, and then strikes from different positions. William Shatner does get clawed by the wolf a few times, but when his gun falls, Zendaya ends up being the one to save him.
Congrats.
They make their way out of the woods and onto an old dirt road. Some strangers driving by are having a conversation. They say, should we go help those two? And someone says, no, they look scary.
And so the passenger in the car is like, just pull over. You know, just see if like maybe they just need a ride. At least we'll be polite. And they pull over and they lower the window and Zendaya's like, don't go in there.
The strangers bring in William Shatner and Zendaya. They get William Shatner the medical help that he needs. The police go in to find what's left of Zendaya's friends.
There's nothing.
It's
The
somber.
Wolfman ate them.
But we do learn what happens when you trust the kindness of strangers, which is advice I could never send you out with in the real world.
And there's a final song that William Shatner sings in his hospital bed.
Because he gets his voice back.
Yeah, they surgically give him a new voice. They give him Tom Holland's voice.
It's what Tom Holland left in his will.
Please leave my voice to
He wrote it as a joke, but they found it on him. I did good out there.
I think
I wish somebody cared.
I wish.
I don't think I want to go back to the woods.
So I won't.
Just a lonely man.
I'll get an Airbnb.
Zendaya surprises him coming in for a visit.
Wow.
She sings
That's
you.
what he says.
Yeah, he goes, wow.
Oh, wow.
She joins the song.
Okay.
You don't have to be alone anymore.
I got you an Airbnb. Because that's what I was thinking.
Tell me about your life and how you wound up in those crazy woods.
I'm kind of in the middle of something.
I mean, yeah, actually, after you heal, maybe this would be a better time to talk.
Yeah, probably for the best.
But I'm down to be your friend.
Really?
I guess. I still don't know what you're like, but
Yeah, cool.
I'm going to give it a shot. Especially in this month of October, spooky season, I think it's great to tell a horror story that speaks to our culture. Be kind to the elderly, and be kind to strangers. I wouldn't say trust them with your lives in the woods, or maybe pick them up off the side of the street,
Or put them on IG Live.
or put them on IG Live without their consent. That's weird.
Yeah, probably not gonna fly.
But if we're all just a little bit better to each other, this world won't be so hard to be in.
As two famous philosophers once said, be excellent to each other.
And most of them are gonna make a ton of money.
Yeah, it's the first of its kind, I think.
I don't think any other found footage movie matters.
Were there any songs in Blair Witch Project? I've never seen it, I don't know. You could tell me anything, I wouldn't say you're wrong.
I think it's time to go for a more traditional idea, one where we're not forced to cram songs in.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Let's see what we got.
You can clap. Bo Burnham.
Bo Burnham just brought out like probably his best special yet on Netflix.
Yeah.
Big
Probably
recommend.
would have been way easier to put Bo Burnham in the musical.
It's almost like that's his whole vibe. And let's see what we're putting Bo Burnham in.
This feels like the... Alright. I
What does
don't know
that
what that
even mean?
means. I mean, it is our show and we can do whatever we want. We don't have to do this.
So Ken,
And you'll never know what it is. And that's a bigger mystery than the movie we pitched. A board game movie.
I think the coveted board game films, as we've seen, Clue, Battleship for some reason.
Is Battleship even really a board game?
It was produced by Hasbro.
That doesn't prove anything.
It kind of is a board game and it kind of is a movie.
It kind of looks like a laptop.
That
More
is
than a
also
board.
true. But if they can make Battleship into a movie that has basically nothing to do with the game, we can do whatever we want with whatever game we want.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is our show and we can do whatever we want.
There is.
There's so many board games.
There is Twister, there is Scrabble, there is the Game of Life. I believe we've done Scrabble on the show, actually. For anybody
I think that it'd be very fitting, considering the name of this show, to do Monopoly.
Monopoly. Monopoly is perfect for a
Over
film
and
adaptation.
Play the Monopoly Man.
We can give him an origin story.
Yeah, it's like Wonka.
Let's set the scene. It's New York in like
1930.
1930.
Good year.
Bo Burnham is one of the oldest newsies on the block.
He can't dance like the other ones.
All the other ones are like singing and tap dancing, and he's trying, but he's just getting too old for it, and it's not cute.
Yeah, none of them have big Pringles can mustaches. He feels like a fish out of water.
But he looks at his paper, and he sees that while everyone else is struggling out in the New York streets, there are still people out there with thousands of dollars.
Maybe even hundreds.
This is a mind-blowing thing.
You could never conceive of the idea that some people might have money.
He tries to learn what they do, and he walks up to the tallest building he can see and assumes that they do business.
And the tallest guy he can find in the tallest building.
And he punches him.
Because that's how you make an impression. You walk up to the biggest guy in the building and sock him in the goit.
He learned that from his buddy who got out of jail, but he assumes it's the answer to most things.
Yeah, that probably has to go with most walks of life.
The boss of this building.
It's like, hey, why would you do that? Don't do that.
Don't punch me.
Especially not in the goit. He's being pretty chill about it, all things considered.
Bo Burnham apologizes and says that he just wanted to make sure everybody noticed it.
Yeah, the boss never tells him to leave.
No, he does hear him out. And the boss is actually so impressed with Bo Burnham's tenacity and confidence that he gives him the job of the tallest man.
So in a weird twist of fate, the strategy did work.
But he did make a new enemy.
A really tall guy.
As Bo Burnham sits in his new office trying to figure out what they do,
And what he's supposed to do.
he finds out that business actually does.
It's booming.
Business is booming.
He doesn't know what it is or what's happening, but it's like, God, this is going great, I think.
And it does align with sort of his personality going in. If you're going to make it in business, you need to be able to strike first, take what you want, and not worry about the other guy.
And so he picks up the phone and he goes, I got something to sell you. And the person on the other side of the phone is like, okay, what is it? And he goes, I don't know. And the person on the other side of the phone goes, I'll take 20.
Bo Burnham is selling nonsense to crazy people, taking advantage of all of it. But he ends up getting further and further along into this company.
One day, 10 years later, he looks in the mirror and he's in a big suit with a top hat and a grayer mustache. He barely recognizes himself.
We see the man that he had punched, who's played by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
That's a tall guy.
He's a tall guy. He is just pulling himself up by the bootstraps.
He's got a neck brace on. He's
got
still
a-
feeling the effects of that punch.
Actually, just being a little dramatic about it, but you know.
He's still feeling the emotional effects of that punch.
He is setting up his own business, and he's doing honest work, but he's only like a tenth of the way Bo Burnham is. Lying and cheating and stealing in the world of business. But he wants to show Bo Burnham that he could best him as an honest man, not knowing that the system is stacked up against him.
Dwayne Johnson decides what he's going to sell, which is
Phone books.
good. That's the one thing Bo Burnham's character needs the most.
Because he's the one dialing all these numbers. Bo Burnham's been pressing buttons like random and getting through to people. But a phone book would let you know who you're calling.
And you have to buy it. You can't just take one. It's not like a take a penny, leave a penny.
It's a
How would
big
he even
book.
do that? He can't leave a phone book he doesn't have.
He gets to work on that, and Bo Burnham is moving in on real estate. Not only does he want to have enough money to survive in the city, he wants to own this city.
Yeah, and it's 1940s New York, so he's kind of just walking down the streets going, that's mine, and that one's mine. And then just because he's so confident, they are.
People are giving him buildings. As he is getting more and more New York real estate and more tired of selling things himself, he decides to allow people to rent out the spaces. Anybody who takes up space in his building gets money back to him, and he can just sit back in his ivory tower and not worry about a thing.
The first person he sells a building to is a car.
What does that mean?
You've never played Monopoly?
I'm out here thinking this is a movie. And it is a board game. The next person he sells a building to,
Is a shoe.
and then a talking dog.
Yeah.
Bo Burnham is making,
It's a very diverse community.
Bo Burnham is making tons and tons of money, but Dwayne Johnson is going door to door to the car and the boot and the dog. And he's trying to sell them phone books because if their businesses are going to work, they need to stay connected.
It's true. But they won't take it.
They like Bo Burnham's strategy of bothering strangers.
Yeah. They like buying nothing way better.
Everybody is so worried about their own self-interest that they're not thinking about what could make things convenient for everyone. Dwayne Johnson needs to reassess. But as he's trying to figure out how he's going to fix his problem, he runs into Bo Burnham.
He like literally runs into him like a football player. He knocks him over. And there's like hundreds of singles just fly out of Bo Burnham. It's like,
And he
when
like,
you're rich in the 40s, you carry all your cash on you all the time.
Bo Burnham doesn't trust banks. He keeps it all on him. Bo Burnham falls to the floor, scuffs up his shoes, and his immediate reaction is to sue Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
It quickly becomes a legal drama.
Which is baffling because Bo Burnham straight up attacked him years ago, and Dwayne Johnson just took that.
Yeah, well, no one else was there.
It shows that Bo Burnham really is a scummy guy. And that even though he got away with hitting a guy in the face, he's going to make life hell for this gentle giant of a man.
Yeah, because everyone saw Dwayne Johnson tackle Bo Burnham. The shoe, the car, the dog. All three people in New York City.
Dwayne Johnson is getting ready to prep his case against the Monopoly Man. But when the talking dog sees how distraught he is, and he begins to think that it probably was an accident, that he didn't mean to run into him on purpose, and that things are getting blown out of proportion.
The dog walks over and puts a hand on Dwayne Johnson's back. A human hand.
Full dog body.
Full dog body on his hind legs. Human hand.
And he buys a phone book. It's a small gesture.
And he goes, I'm going to call you a lawyer.
As he goes through the phone book, he sees that there's so many to choose from. He doesn't have to pick one randomly.
There's like a whole section for them.
And he can pick the best there is.
Because he's rich. He's the dog with hands.
Having a friend in this crazy world helps a lot, especially when the odds are stacked against you.
Bo Burnham doesn't have any friends.
He just has business partners. People that could turn on him in an instant if it helped them with the bottom line. While The Rock is speaking to his lawyers, Bo Burnham has bought up every inch of New York City.
And he's just sitting back in a chair counting his money. He knows exactly how much money he has, but he's making a point.
The economy is going to crash because all of this money goes to Bo Burnham and he
And
doesn't
nobody
spend any of
else.
it.
He just keeps declaring that things are his and making money, and then not spending it.
And everyone else trying to run their businesses, trying to only look out for themselves, they're destroying the city, not realizing. But the dog and Dwayne Johnson and the lawyer end up casting a net of more and more people. The lawyer, all his pens run dry, and he goes to the stationery store. The stationery store had nobody buy anything for the longest time, so he calls up his distributors and these delivery guys. Slowly, a web of connection is made, and the city is supporting itself.
They swing the jury.
They swing the jury.
Any means necessary.
If Dwayne Johnson, the only person in New York who's willing to collaborate and help and work for people and not just lie and cheat and steal, they're not going to send him to jail. They need a guy like that in the city. If anything, they need to figure out how to get the Monopoly Man in jail.
So they call the Monopoly Man. They're like, hey, meet me in the park, just me and not everyone in the city. I promise. And Bo Burnham's like, sounds chill. All right. He walks into Central Park, and then everybody's there, and they're surrounding him in a circle. And he's like, what happened? What did I do?
They're all ready to attack, but Bo Burnham's a crafty villain. And
So
this
he
is his
runs
story.
away.
He runs away first off, and then he makes calls, and he says he'll sell individual buildings to people if he gets them if they get them off his back.
And they're like, the point is that you have all the money.
Yeah, but you'll have some of it, and I'll still have most, but you'll have some, unlike the rest of them.
Yeah, I just came up with this cool new idea called capitalism.
The whole plan is starting to fall apart. Dwayne Johnson doesn't know what to do, but he gets the police on his side and tries to look in to all the crimes that the Monopoly Man has made, which is probably tax evasion.
At least.
At least that.
Definitely theft.
Definitely theft. There's reason, there's good cause to bring the Monopoly Man down. But every time they get him tried, he just buys his freedom. It almost seems like the entire system is stacked against him. But less fortunate. But the Monopoly Man is growing old. He has no friends. He has no family. He just has his money.
Sometimes he tries to call the shoe. The shoe just lets it go to voicemail. This is still the 40s. Trust me.
He's trying to, at least towards the end of his life, make some sort of meaningful connection. And he sees Dwayne Johnson living in this raggedy little apartment. And he sees that the dog is over.
They're playing cards.
The police chief is over. Dwayne Johnson has beautiful children.
But no wife.
What's that
Kind
about?
of just like butted them like an amoeba.
It's more wholesome that way.
Yeah, there's no sex in this movie. Get your head out of the gutter.
As he looks on, he realizes that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson had everything he really wanted. When he was just a newsie on the street corner, no one ever approved of him. No one ever bought his papers. He felt so alone in this world. And he thought money would fix it. But all it ever did was keep him more and more isolated.
There's a big crying scene when he realizes all this. Just a full 20 minutes dedicated to crying.
He realizes that mono in Monopoly means one. Out of all things, I'm really surprised that one landed, but I'm glad.
If we wanted to, we could just end it right there.
He goes to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who's shocked to see him at the door, and he apologizes. He tells him that he's lived his life trying to push this man down
For no reason.
for no reason.
You kind of just met this guy once.
And for him to have all these nice things that he wants, he has to be a pretty good guy.
Yeah, Bo Burnham's like, hey, you want to trade? More kids for all my money?
This is a game of Monopoly. Deals are made. But Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson refuses, but he does invite Bo Burnham to dinner.
Cute.
At dinner, everyone's a little tentative to be sitting next to him.
No one's really saying anything. They're all just kind of sitting there.
But he hears that the kids are going to go see a movie after this. And that the Looney Tunes are probably going to play ahead of him. And they're so excited. He goes and he watches that movie with the family. And his whole world is flipped upside down.
It's like, I didn't know that this existed.
I bought all the theaters, but I never went inside.
This is great.
He goes home and he goes, I have all this money, and I have nothing to do with it. and he puts on a podcast. It's called Badr and Des have no money.
And he's like, this is really, really good.
And he does nothing with those ideas.
Yeah. He decides that he's going to invest all of his money into this weird game that anyone can play, where they can buy New York real estate and sell it and maybe go to jail.
And he continues to love the film industry, but never contribute anything to aspiring artists.
It's not really his scene.
He's just a fan. And that makes everything that much worse for him.
And then Dwayne Johnson continues to live in that apartment, raises his kids there, his kids take it over. The dog moves to the woods.
Or it's bit by a radioactive bigger dog. The Boo continues to do whatever it was doing.
Buying real estate.
Buying real estate continuously.
Yeah, the Boo and the car become real estate moguls.
And the Monopoly Man tricks the world into thinking he was endeared by all
Yeah,
through his
just by
charming box
smiling
art.
a lot.
And I think that's enough closure we need for that film.
Yeah, it's kind of a tragic end. But sometimes those happen.
That's what happens when you make a capitalist the lead.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's movie 2. I think we got time for it. I do miss spinning the wheels, to be honest. So I'm going to do this a little bit.
All right.
What do we got here?
Sylvester Stallone.
Oh.
I'm not making this up.
Famous for the Rocky films.
The Expendables.
And he was King Shark in Suicide Squad. Probably one of his best roles because he just had to mumble stuff. Very natural for him.
What's he doing? Oh, me again?
Yeah,
You're so nice.
I'm a jitters guy.
Ryan Reynolds, bad alien sci-fi horror. Bad horror.
I love how detailed that was.
Very specific.
I think what the deal was is they put actor and genre on the same card. But in the spirit of this show, this is specifically a Ryan Reynolds bad horror film starring Sylvester Stallone. Yeah. Oh, we'll kind of bookend it with a horror theme, some found footage horror and some traditional horror.
I mean, hey, it's almost Halloween.
What counts as bad horror for you folks? I'm thinking B movies specifically, but do we have any favorite
Everyone
bad
just
horror
starts saying
movies?
things you don't like.
Human Centipede.
Human Centipede, that is an awful experience. I have a story about that. I was once at my friend's house and they were watching Human Centipede.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no. And his dad comes home and says, "Hey, we're gonna make a human centipede out of these kids." And instead of getting scared, the first thing I said was dibs front. Any other horror movies that we don't like?
Killer Clowns.
Killer Clowns is a bad one.
It's a Terrifier.
What is that?
Terrifier.
Terrifier?
When Martians attack.
Watch this attack. Okay, I haven't seen that one. I've seen Devil, that's like that elevator horror movie. You remember that one?
Velocipaster.
Velocipaster.
Yes, that's all.
Sharknado.
Sharknado. So what
Okay, so
most of these have in common are ridiculous premises.
What I'm getting from this is that there's a
We have
tornado.
Zombie-nado?
So there's a tornado of zombie Martians in a human centipede.
Oh my god. Okay, so the doctor responsible for the human centipede experiments
At Area 51.
at Area 51 did it to a bunch of
And
aliens.
he's like, this is probably fine, and then he left.
When those aliens passed away, they became zombified.
When they passed away, they didn't.
And when they passed away, they didn't. And now a tornado is blowing through Area 51, destroying the base, and bringing whatever is inside it out to the rest of the country.
Yeah, it's not that scary because I guess only one of the Martians can actually bite anyone. But still pretty gross.
I'm just thinking how miserable it is to be like the back-end zombie Martian.
Well, we don't know what Martians do back there.
I mean,
It could be a lot less gross than what we do.
depending on their cultural standpoints. We are ignorant to
Also,
Martian
just
culture.
depending on their body. Have you ever seen a Martian? No.
Not that we know.
Have you seen a Martian's butt? Even more no. Maybe it's clean as a whistle back there. That's how they eat.
Depends on how we want to be. So the zombie tornado is making its way. Sylvester Stallone used to work at Area 51.
As a janitor.
He retired 10 years ago, sworn to secrecy about everything he saw. He tries to forget. He spends most of his days drinking, thinking back of the horrific creatures out there in the great beyond. Whatever, he likes milk. I don't know.
Yeah, drinking a lot of milk.
He's sitting there drinking, trying to forget everything that he had seen. But when the news reports break out, it almost seems like everything he was worried about is coming true.
Well, he kind of knew it would.
Well, he didn't know a tornado specifically would have it set like spiraling through America, but he
he's
did
like,
know.
I didn't think
threats.
this was going to be the way it would happen, but I did think it would happen. And everyone's like, don't try to be right all the time.
He calls up some of his old retiree buddies, and he says he's putting together a team
Really old guy.
of really old guys who used to do action movies.
Like even older guys than the Expendables.
Even older.
Yeah, like truly senior citizens.
So like some of the cast of Red is there, I'd assume.
Yeah.
We got Morgan Freeman there.
Betty White.
John.
Cocoon.
Yeah,
There we go.
the whole cast.
The cast of Cocoon. John Malkovich is the sassy one.
Helen Mirren is there.
All the old folks. And they get together. Tools that Sylvester Stallone had stolen from Area 51.
Like the mop
Like the mop
and the mop bucket.
and the mop bucket. But it's from Area 51.
Yeah, he didn't really
So it's
steal
prob-
them so much as his bosses were like, yeah, you can keep this if you want.
And everyone's really upset because he tells them, I've brought in some stuff from Area 51 that could help us. And they look into his closet and it's just all his janitorial stuff.
It's got like notes on it, like it's a yearbook from like his old coworkers.
Everyone's livid because they think like, how is any of this going to stop the alien zombie tornado? But Helen Mirren's just glad that if they are going to go down, it's with some of her best friends in the world.
And Sylvester Stallone.
And Sylvester Stallone, who sucks. And I
Because he's
can't
trying to
believe they
be right
listen
all
to
the
him.
time.
But what we learn is that this tornado was not set off by natural means. Ryan Reynolds is an evil meteorologist.
You just got fired from the news station that's breaking this news. It's like, now you're running my stories. And they're like, we didn't because you're the weatherman. You're not supposed to write stories.
You're supposed to just tell us what the weather's going to be.
And he goes, why I oughta.
Ryan Reynolds had been in his lab for months trying to make a man-made tornado that could destroy Area 51 and let out its contents. He wants to show that meteorologic news, or however you would say that,
You should have
It's
just
the next
said it more
frontier.
confidently.
not knowing that there is a villain behind all of this, America gets ready to face the worst. But Sylvester Stallone isn't ready to give up.
He's like, no, a guy definitely did this.
And also, we can stop this tornado, because if it was man-made, it could be man-stopped.
And that's like they zoom in on it in real time. That's like the big one-liner.
Sylvester Stallone goes out to his front yard because he can hear the wind whistling.
Because there's a full tornado near his house.
But then, all sorts of alien tech lands right in front of his house.
Yeah, like their phones.
Like their phones, which have laser beams in them.
And their computers that have laser beams in.
And there's shoes that can go very fast.
Because of the laser beams in it.
He sees all this and he goes to reach for it, but what else falls in front of him is a zombie alien centipede.
He's like, ugh, gross.
It rushes towards him as he tries to grab one of the laser beam infused things.
But he fumbles with the phone. And so he grabs the closest thing that he knows he can grab, his mouth.
He ends up swabbing at the alien face, and it actually wipes away.
It just disappears.
All the aliens have the consistency of the cleaning fluid he used to put on the floors.
And he turns to all his friends and he's like, see, I told you. And they're like, shut up.
Nobody likes a know-it-all, Sylvester. As like Sylvester Stallone is getting ready for his mop, he totally leaves all the cool laser beam stuff. He just like walks away. And John Malkovich is the only one to go like, dude, and like grabs all of it and puts it on. But Sylvester Stallone is ready to fight a tornado with a bunch of mops. As they go into town, they try to convince everybody what it takes to stop these aliens, but nobody wants to listen.
Everyone in like Phoenix is just like, why are you wearing so many mops? And they don't listen.
They're running for their lives. They're not going to listen to this crazy guy who was retired from Area 51. Who knows what they did to his brain? He could be talking nonsense.
I mean, he is wearing a lot of mops. It's not typically the sign of a dude who's got his head on straight.
But as the alien centipede people are raining down, people are dying in this city.
Mainly just from the impact of the aliens falling down.
Yeah, they don't have to do that much. If something falls out of a
Yeah,
tornado,
there's so
you're going to
many
be in trouble.
different problems that one of them typically does the job.
The mayor opens her doors to anybody that wants to try to find safety.
But their house is pretty small.
They make their way inside, and Sylvester Stallone tries to speak to the mayor.
But everyone's talking at the same time, and he doesn't have a very loud voice. So he just kind of keeps going like,
And I'm really scared of this whole thing. I think it's a bad time. We're gonna die.
If I could,
Oh, you think Sylvester was saying something?
yeah. I didn't mean to bring the mood down.
He finally makes his way over to the mayor, who hears him out, and he actually has a piece of alien on his shoe and wipes it off with the mop and demonstrates. She wants to arm everyone in the city with a mop. She wants to call everyone else from other towns. But the aliens are making their way into her home, and everybody has a tight space. Nowhere really to escape. They need at least one of them to be able to get out and spread the word. But they're not going to trust Sylvester Stallone.
He's the one with the mop.
He's the one
He's got to
everybody
be on
thinks
the
is
front
crazy.
lines.
They're all trying to mop at these, but there's too many of them. Most of his old friends are dying.
But that's just because they're old.
Yeah, nothing to do with what was going on with this whole monster thing. Someone
Yeah.
just like took a nap.
Betty White is kind of just objectively dying.
She says that herself. It's not that sad. She makes
She's
a
like,
joke.
I am 100 after all.
That we're losing numbers, we're losing men. But the mayor
And women.
and women. Sylvester Stallone and the mayor make it out, and they get in contact with the president. But the president is best friends with Ryan Reynolds.
He's like, there's no way my best friend in the whole world would do this.
He's played by Hugh Jackman. My best friend in the whole world's a good guy, and this stuff is just bad.
Yeah, I told him to stop doing this.
Yeah. And also, not to be cynical, but if everyone's gone, no one's going to complain about the stuff we hid in Area 51. So it's kind of a win-win. Sylvester Stallone is shocked and appalled that the government is not willing to save the people. He finds those super fast shoes with the laser beams on the back.
And it's a perfect fit.
John Malkovich begrudgingly gives them to him. He doesn't want to sacrifice
Because
his
these
life.
ones
for
are just my
one of those
size.
shoes.
I don't want to give them to him.
He's like, we need to save the world.
Yeah, Sylvester Stallone's like, we're the same size. and I can give them back when I'm done. If that'll make you feel
He's
better.
like, you might not come back. This is a bad time.
I'm pretty sure I'm gonna come back.
Eventually gets him on. And Sylvester Stallone tries to run the opposite direction of the tornado, reversing the wind currents. Everyone is so tense. They don't think he's gonna make it, but slowly but surely, the winds start to wind down.
Yeah, no one tries to do anything to help. They're all just like, ah.
They only had one pair of cool, super fast shoes. As they spin and wind down, everyone is overjoyed. And then immediately terrified because a nation's worth of human centipede aliens crash down all at once in one spot. And they're all right there.
And then Sylvester Stallone's like, y'all know what to do. Start mopping. Just like a nice cleanup sequence in the whole city. Mopping them up.
There's cute music that plays. Some people are getting bit and it's really graphic, but it's a B horror movie, so you need a little
But they
spice
act
of
it's a
that.
bee sting. They kind of
Like,
laugh. Yeah, Walking on Sunshine is playing.
But as the numbers are whittling down and they're sure they're going to be okay, Ryan Reynolds is furious. His whole plan has been foiled from some janitor retiree. He had the president on his side, and this is the guy and his friends that defeated him. He brings out the one piece that could, my whole brain shut off at what the word for
He
this is.
puts on a one-piece t-shirt.
He puts on a one-piece t-shirt, it's his favorite.
And now he's ready to go.
He takes off this one sample that he has from the aliens. He puts it in a vial. And he sticks it into Sylvester Stallone, who is now slowly turning into one of these things himself.
And he goes to John Malkovich. He knows what's happening somehow. He goes, I'm pretty sure I know what this is. And he goes over to John Malkovich and hands him the mop. And he's like, mop me.
And John Malkovich says, I'm the sassy friend, but I do care about you. I can't do it. I can't do this. We'll find a way to save you.
Well, somebody's gotta.
Sylvester Stallone is very unemotional about it, but John Malkovich is trying to have a heart-to-heart with him. He knows what he has to do. He has to mop up his friend, the unsung hero, the person who will never get the credit for saving the entire country. He's about to die.
So he takes a picture of him first. He's like, smile.
They take a selfie. It's cute.
So there's some proof that he was there.
And just as he goes to mop him away, Sylvester Stallone's like, wait, I still have my brain. That's going to bother John Malkovich for a while.
Not too long.
I mean, he thought he was doing the right thing, but he's not going to sleep for a couple weeks.
And neither is the president.
No, the president's really upset about everything that happened.
He and Ryan Reynolds get put in jail, but the same cells. They're roommates.
It is really nice. It is really nice that they're in jail with their best friends.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna be in jail, probably the best way that could work out.
They're in their cell. They look out the window, and they're terrified to find that an alien spaceship is coming towards Earth. Furious, finding out about the human centipede alien experiments. They want revenge on the Earthlings for manipulating them in such a way. And worse yet, they're all wearing clown masks.
And one of them's a velocipaster.
To be continued. What a ride. I think those are some of the perfect films to use for this holiday season, to be scared, to be excited.
I think those are some of the best movies of all time.
And even though they haven't happened yet, some producer's going to buy them. We're going to put them on the big screen just for you.
Yeah, Godfather Who.
I think it's time to get into some lightning rounds, where we'll do some very quick versions of this. And I think we'll do away with the bowls. We'll talk directly to you guys. What do you want to see in some lightning rounds? What are some fun, fast pitches you like?
Jack Twilight.
Want some Jack Black and Twilight?
Jack Black is the rockinest, rollinest vampire. He's a teacher at the school.
And he has this like pasty kid that's like always looking at this other girl really menacingly, and he like wants to talk to the guidance counselors about it because it's weird.
But the guidance counselor's office has a lot of windows. So he's not really trying to go in there.
Yeah, he's not trying to sparkle, as we know.
Yeah, that'll give away his whole thing.
He decides that if he has to live this vampire life in the suburbs, the best way to go into it is lean into the whole vampire iconography.
Yeah, so he goes, what's like the best thing that I could teach my students that would happen at night? I guess concerts happen at night. Maybe I should teach all of my students how to play in a rock band. And so on all the days that Edward Cullen and Bella missed, that's when they did like School of Rock class.
Because he just felt so weird about that pasty kid, he didn't want to do anything fun while he was around. But through rock music, through the relationship him and his students build, they get to put on the coolest vampire rock show, and everyone thinks it's a gimmick.
Yeah.
But really, Jack Black gets to be himself, and those kids learn how to be themselves. I think we could probably do like 2 more lightning rounds.
Yeah.
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy, I love Tom Hardy.
What's he doing?
He's Venom now. He
No, I
was-
don't mean, I know that. What is he doing the audience?
Caddyshack.
Tom Hardy is in the gritty sequel to Caddyshack, playing the live-action mocap version of the Groundhog. And he's out for revenge.
Tom Hardy's father was killed by a golf ball. And he spends all his days in the dirt doing push-ups and practicing knife skills, because as soon as he can get close enough to one of the golfers,
He's gonna
it's
take
over.
them down.
When Tom Hardy gets close enough to one of the golfers, he ends up killing a father, sending this child on a quest for revenge.
So that child starts doing push-ups and
Practicing his knife skills. It culminates into an epic battle, Revenant style. And in the end, the groundhog learns that revenge only begets more revenge.
And that it's a dish best served cold.
I would pitch that. I think we got one final one in us.
Who else?
Any suggestions? Any celebrities?
John Stamos.
John Stamos.
Not all at once.
Uncle Jesse from Full House.
Dude.
In Dune? So the plot of Dune, but with John Stamos in it.
Yeah.
There we go.
John Stamos plays the sand.
Yeah,
He plays the dude.
he plays the Dune. Timothy Chalamet is like adventuring and doing cool stuff, but ever so often we pan far back, we like zoom back far enough that you see a face with incredible hair in the sand.
Yeah, you realize what you thought were mountains were his voluminous hair.
And now we understand why the dunes themselves were so important to name the whole movie after.
Yeah, so basically it's all of Dune in its entirety as you would see it. But every once in a while you see John Stamos' face. And then at the end, like right before the credits roll, he's like, "Have mercy."
It's right when the bad guy does something wrong.
And everyone in the audience is like, "That's the thing I remember."
I think it's time to wind down on the lightning rounds, unless anybody has something they're really dying for. EJ, you have something to tell us.
Okay. Really?
Really? Ladies and gentlemen, we've just been informed that today,
It actually is Emerald Lagasse's birthday.
so if you would be so kind as to join us in singing happy birthday to Emerald
We
Lagasse,
think you'd really appreciate
we really
it.
appreciate it.
All right, 1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Bam, bam, bam. Happy birthday send him the tape when this is done.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll appreciate it, but it felt good.
The fact that you guys were down for that means a lot.
Yeah. I think if you guys were willing to do that, it really means that we have your full support and attention. And that means a lot to us.
Ain't that a beautiful thing?
Guys, like we said, this electric feeling we get from being on stage is incredible. It's our favorite way to do this show, and it means so much that you were all willing to come out for it tonight, especially with everything that we've been through. So thank you so much.
Give yourselves another round of applause.
We love movies. We hope we get one of these things made, but in the meantime, we're having a great time doing it this way.
Yeah.
So until we hit the big screen, we hope you have a great day,
Better evening.
and an even better tomorrow.
Thank you.
When you base your life on credit and your loving days are done, a text you sign with the loving kiss later comes back shine insufficient funny. Y'all get to that.